What's up, everybody? Welcome to Let's Cool One with Jack Macklin. I'm here today. I'm going to talk about little concert reviews I went to the Charles Lloyd show at the Symphony Center last night. I'm going to talk about this week's record of the week, some upcoming and past gigs. Yeah, there we go. I'm here today with Tassos running the board. What's up, Tassos?
What's going on? Hi.
All right. We're just going to talk about the past and upcoming gigs I had. So the record of the week, we're developing a practice routine is something I want to talk about. I think that's super important for musicians today and super important for me to remind myself to do, and talk about some 5 modern standards that I think are really fun to play and really enjoy playing, and think it's important for everyone to know today because we all are talking about tunes, and I know everyone out there, especially here in Chicago, people do know a lot of tunes, which is great, but having 5 modern standards I think that everyone knows is very important. So I went to last night. I went to see Charles Lloyd at Symphony Center, and it was super inspirational, super inspiring. I mean, the whole show was awesome. It was 2 bands. It was Charles Lloyd Quartet that headlined the show, and who opened up for them was really both were headlining, but the band that played first was the Wayne Shorter Legacy Band with John Patitucci and Brian Blade and Danulo Perez with Mark Turner playing the role of Wayne Shorter there, which was really inspiring. He did a fantastic job. Mark Turner had an amazing sound. I got the seats up in the upper gallery there at the CSO, which, it sounded amazing. I was really impressed with the sound, even though I've been to that venue before. I've seen a couple shows there. I actually saw that band with Wayne Shorter there probably like 5 or 6 years ago. So it was cool to see them doing kind of the similar concept that Wayne kind of was doing there. I watched Wayne's documentary, and he talked about it and explained some of his later concepts, which was more improvising music and in the moment more. It was kind of more avant-garde, but it was really inspiring because if you were a listener, you would think that they were just playing free or playing avant-garde or just kind of playing music off of each other with no particular like time feel but they all had sheet music, and they were turning the pages, so they were reading something, but there were certain melodies that they would play and certain things that they would interact with off of each other, and it was just still not quite sure exactly what they were doing up there, but it was like definitely like nothing I've ever heard before. That Wayne Shorter band is the top of the craft and like the jazz world today. For those are musicians that are just at the top of their abilities for sure. Mark Turner on saxophone, I mean, sounded just like the all Mark Turner, how Mark Turner usually sounds, just amazing. And Brian Blade was just absolutely incredible. All these musicians are incredible. I can just speak all day on how incredible they were, but the way that they interacted together, you could definitely tell that Patitucci and Blade had just an incredible history together, as well as Perez. They just had a huge history together playing with Wayne, and it was just really deep in the room, and they brought like a vibe with them because I think this might be their first or second tour or something after Wayne passed away. So just hearing that band is just incredible, all at the top of their craft. So that was just a really enjoyable hour. It was, it was a little, you really have to be paying attention to what's going on to kind of understand what they're doing, kind of, but still you have questions. It's just one of those things that the types of music and the way that they're playing it, where it just takes a lot of listening power to listen to, and they're just getting so artistic, and you have to really sit there and watch these people interact and play, and just gain appreciation, and their sounds, just the room sounded amazing. But anyway, yeah, would highly recommend. I think that it was great that I went to that, and definitely worth the price of admission for sure. But then there was a set break. It was cool. Went out to the lobby, grabbed a drink. It was nice, and the CSO is just a wonderful venue. I mean, it's like one of the Chicago's best theaters. The Chicago Symphony Orchestra plays there, and it was just it's a treat to go see a show there, really. But then I came back in, and I saw the Charles Lloyd quartet, and that was also really sweet. That was with Charles Lloyd on saxophone, who I read yesterday. I know a couple of his tunes. I know that he's an absolute hero. He's an NEA jazz master. Recently appointed to that. He released records back in the day with some of the jazz greats in the 60s, and he took like 15 years off and was living in California in Big Sur, where he was just like kind of chilling in nature for 15 years. And then he decided to come back to the saxophone and, got really good again, and had just hired a bunch of amazing people to play in his band. That band was Eric Harlands on drums, Larry Grenadier on bass, and Aaron Parks on piano. And that was cool. That was also kind of an avant-garde set as well. So it was two like really intense avant-garde sets there at the CSO. But it's really interesting because when I play, it's like my band doesn't necessarily sound like their band or those bands, and it just kind of makes me think like what direction jazz is going in right now, or what you call Black American music, and where the future is headed with it, because those are the two leading groups in jazz today, I would say, and they're both going really had an avant-garde set. An avant-garde, I guess, is more, like I was saying, free. They're playing off of each other. There's not necessarily like a tempo. Sometimes there is. Sometimes people do take a lot of risks in the music and kind of just trust their intuition and go where they think it should go. And sometimes it just sounds like noises, but it's like, it's not, it's not just noises. These guys are really playing for real, and so cool to see that type of music done so well. So it leaves me questions of where the future of jazz will go, and how these guys had just really compositions that really just opened up the playing field for everyone to jump in there with their unique thing to say, and how people jumped off of it, just like they do in like bebop, but it was just a different type of platform that they're portraying there. So I went to the show. Was great. Met some different people afterwards, and it was awesome. Just had a great time. So super stoked I went to that. I wanted to, before we move on to our next topic, I wanted to bring some attention to the last two shows I've had. We had Christian Hindratno on last week, and we're actually playing a gig this upcoming Halloween on October 31st. That's going to be me, Christian, and Simon Chacho on bass, and we're playing at Big Mini in Wicker Park from 7:30 to 10:30, which will be a great show. So please make it out to that. But we had Christian Hindratno on, and we had Ryan Bills on the week before that. So those are two great interviews. It was Christian moved here from Indonesia, and Ryan's from Detroit, and they have both really unique backgrounds, and got to talk about some cool musical topics with them. But and then that's Christian Hindratno are playing at Big Mini, and I'm fortunate enough to have a Thursday residency from now until the end of the year there, playing with a band once a month, and solo every other week besides that. So if you have a date, it's a perfect spot to bring a date, perfect spot to hang out with your friends, play some putt-putt. It's a great bar. The drinks are great. They have rotating beers, a bunch of good stuff. So if you're in Chicago area on a Thursday and want to hear some music, come out to there. Last weekend, I played the show out in Lisle at the Crooked Arm bar. I used like a vinyl and tap room. That was great. I had Ruben Stump on bass and Daniel Gaden on drums. He's a great drummer, and that went really well. Crooked Arm is a great spot for music, so if you are out in this Lisle area, definitely stop by that place because they are doing great. They have all different types of styles. I think we were like one of the first more jazz groups they had in there. So wanted to shout out them for having us. Hopefully we can be back. Yeah, so I'm excited about this Thursday residency coming up throughout the end of the year. So definitely wanted to just shed some light on that, and I will do some promotion on that as well. But yeah, that transitions me into my record of the week. Now we're on to the record of the week. Bum bum bum. No, we had record of the week. Sometimes I've been doing that, but when I have guests on, sometimes I'll get lost with the guests and want to talk about that. But I wanted to bring to light this week's record of the week, and we'll talk about it next week more in depth, and introduce a new one more next week. But we got this week, it's Jimmy Heath's "The Quota" is the record of the week this week, and that was Jimmy Heath is one of my heroes. The reason why I got inspired to listen to this record was because I was learning that tune "When Sunny Gets Blue," which is a Marvin Fisher and Jack Siegel composition. I was learning that tune. It's a beautiful tune. And Jimmy Heath's arrangement of it and his version on "The Quota" really stood out to me, and I ended up checking out the rest of the record. But it has really inspiring personnel on the record. It's Jimmy Heath on tenor sax, of course, Freddie Hubbard. On trumpet, Julius Watkins is playing some French horn, Percy Heath, bass, Cedar Walton piano, and Albert Heath on drums. So it's just some killers playing on this record with him. And just a little review. Leonard Feather from the Downbeat Reviewer concluded, "All in all, a session that didn't aim too high and managed to hit the target." Not really sure what he meant by that. But then you have Stephen Cook from AllMusic, who gave it 4 stars, says that Jimmy Heath's considerable talents are very evident on this fine hard bop title. The Quota's strong material, tight arrangements, and thoughtful solos help make this Heath title one of the better hard bop releases available and a must for any jazz collection. So that's a pretty awesome thing to say there for Jimmy Heath's "The Quota." The tune I wanted to highlight is, of course, "When Sunny Gets Blue." Also, Jimmy has 4 original compositions on this one, which is "The Quota," "Lowland Lullaby," "Downshift," and "Funny Time." So those are all 4 Jimmy Heath original compositions, and then they have a recording of "Think of You," the Harry and Ruby and Bert Calmer tune, "Bells and Horns," a Milt Jackson tune, and of course, "When Sunny Gets Blue" are their arrangements of songs that they perform. So yeah, so record of the week is Jimmy Heath's 3rd release as a leader, and originally released on Riverside labels, recorded in April 14th and 20th of 1961 in New York City. So it's not too long of a record. It's kind of like a 38 minutes, so it's a quick listen to. But the Heath brothers definitely have a amazing connection, and they're from Philadelphia. So Jimmy Heath died a couple years ago, so I'll shout out to him. But he's one of the greatest tenor saxophones of all time. Played with all the bop legends. I really, like I said, I really enjoy "When Sunny Gets Blue," but this one, check out this week if you are keeping up with the record of the week, and let me know what you think. But yeah, the Jimmy Heath from Philadelphia. Like I said, his brothers Albert Heath and Percy Heath are on this record. She's also heroes, played with all the greats: Dizzy Gillespie, Charlie Parker, all the Coltrane, Benny Golson, all these guys. So with that record of the week, I wanted to talk about two subjects here that kind of in more of the music education side of things here in the jazz education, is obviously one of them is developing a practice routine. You know, as a jazz musician or just a musician in general that plays creative music, as a Black American musician or just musician, Black American music musician, it's important to have a dedicated practice routine where you're playing your instrument and getting better at your craft. And it's hard to sometimes always practice and dedicate yourself to practicing, but it's definitely a must in order to get to that level that you want to get to. I've done my fair share of practicing for sure, but I definitely, definitely have been in phases in my career this far to where I've practiced more than others, and I'm trying to develop a thing where I do it, do some every single day, and not missing a day of practicing, just like hitting the gym or whatever, but just, like some musicians I know will practice, 8 hours one day or whatever, and then not play for a couple days after that and like practice another 8 hours. And I think it's really important to have consistency with your practice routine, even if it's an hour or two every single day, doing that every single day and really like just touching your instrument every single day, I think is really important because it really gives you, it puts you in that zone and that feel, and like the sharpest my chops have been, I feel like, are when I was, playing every single day, with other people every single day. And I know that's not always accessible to people, especially in an environment where gigs are competitive to play every single day with other people and gig. But the practice routine, first of all, it needs to be every single day, and I know that's hard for people, but it has to be every single day. And second of all, it's dedicating a certain time, making a routine out of it, every day. If you practice for an hour and a half or, so some people that might seem a lot, but like if you practice 2 hours every day, or if you even practice 30 minutes every day or 4 hours, it's a time that's manageable for you to get done every day. I think 2 hours every day. And, for horn players, I know taking a day off sometimes is necessary, but for like other people, sometimes it's not. Like Wes played every single day. It's like we can all play every single day. But having a certain time of day every day that you practice, and that's like being your practice time, and being disciplined with yourself to make it your practice time, and I mean, I think that comes with anything that you want to do, anything that you want to be really good at. It's like dedicating a certain part of day to do it and doing it, being consistent with it. So then, like, what to practice is a whole other topic that we'll definitely get into. But as a guitar player, I always start with some technique stuff, always trying to sharpen my technique and get a great feel by playing the Bach inventions, or, developing an etude, playing ballads as open triads, and walking through trying to find different reharms that I could use for that. Always is something I always start with. And then I like always try to learn something every day, like either if it's a line by a great, or if it's a lick, I guess, by one of the great musicians, or if it's a tune or something like that, I try to learn something new and work on technique every day. And those are the things that really drive me to continue to practice, because I love learning something new and I love having a new song in my head that I've been working on. And sometimes you have to push yourself to do that, or a solo or transcription, or a certain original compositions by an artist. Having a new song in my head keeps me going on, makes me want to play something new on the gigs that I do. And the gigs have been picking up, here. When I first started the show, I didn't really have any gigs, and because I just moved back. He was playing at Elia a little bit, had the St. Charles Jazz Weekend, so I had some, but I'm excited that into the winter here I have a regular gig that I could test out some of these tunes and things that I'm learning at. And any musician who's listening to this, feel free to come by and sit in. We'd love to have anybody there this Thursday. But yeah, the time, the material, and doing it every day, are just what it takes to develop a dedicated practice routine to where you're going to get better at what you do. And yeah, I can't stress that enough. It's worked for me in multiple ways. I'm still trying to work at it, and being disciplined with my practicing every day, and being inspired. Sometimes I'm not very inspired and I have to do it anyway. And sometimes I'm very inspired and it comes easy, but I think that once you do it every day, or, it becomes just part of a routine, and you really enjoy it. Yeah, this like kind of learning new tunes wanted me to, I wanted to transition into this another topic I want to talk about, which is 5 modern jazz standards. I mean, these aren't in any order, but I think that these are 5 standards today that a lot of musicians should know, and a lot of jazz musicians or whatever should know, and really cool tunes that you should play on your gigs, or just jam with people at jam sessions, or just be learning on your personal development at home. These are the 5 modern standards, a list that I just made. I wanted to just write 5, but there's so many more that I could add on to, and maybe I'll make this like a weekly thing of like 5 modern standards that I want to share with everybody, that they can start learning or check out. These are songs that I play on my gigs, and songs that I think that are really, even though they are some old, some new, I think these are like 5 standards that people should play today. And they're really great tunes, and they're modern standards. So the first one I have here is, of course, Kenny Garrett, who's a modern jazz master. I have "Sing a Song of Song" by Kenny Garrett. It's from his record. What's the name of his record? I know all the tunes on it right now. It's Miss Baja is on there. November 15th is on there. It's a songbook by Kenny Garrett. Yeah, it's Jeff Tain Watts, Nat Reeves, and Kenny Kirkland on piano. That record is amazing. The best tune is "Sing a Song a Song." Kenny Garrett's version is always amazing. It's the best version. So I have that. Definitely milestone record for me. Next one I have "Ruby My Dear" by Thelonious Monk. That's definitely, Monk is still just one of the legends. So having a Monk tune in there, and "Ruby My Dear" or "Around Midnight" are 2 of his just most popular tunes. But "Ruby My Dear" is definitely one that is very popular and is played today by many people, and I think should be on any set list that's super hip. Next one, I wanted to throw out a Roy Hargrove tune on there. So he has this tune that's only on YouTube, as best I believe. That's like a live radio performance entitled "Soulful." And a lot of people, I've been hearing this tune a lot, and I've been playing this tune on my gigs a little bit, is this Roy Hargrove tune, "Soulful." And it's with John Baptiste on piano on the YouTube video, and he just takes a monsterful solo on there. So that's really killing. Soulfuls should be on any modern set list. Next is Kenny Barron, "Voyage." "Voyage" is another super swinging hard bop tune, very fast, taken originally very fast. Kenny Barron is a beautiful recording. I unfortunately got to see Kenny Barron once, but he's a masterful composer and masterful pianist. So I had to include a Kenny Barron composition. I'm taking into consideration the composer as well, because you want to highlight these great American composers on my tunes that I play. And it's Kenny Garrett, Thelonious Monk, Roy Hargrove, Kenny Barron, and then the last one I have is "Star Eyes" by Charlie Parker. So those are 5 composers that I really look up to, and 5 greats of this music. Some are still Kenny Barron and Kenny Garrett are both still alive. So that's why some of these are more modern. But yeah, "Star Eyes" is a Charlie Parker composition that sometimes doesn't really sound like a Charlie Parker composition, and there's a lot of things that you can do with that tune. You could play it straight, you could swing the bridge, you could play different grooves on top of it, but Star Eyes is definitely a super hip modern tune, and I'm just trying to strive for how good these people wrote these musicians, who the group of musicians, say it again, Kenny Garrett, Thelonious Monk, Roy Hargrove, Kenny Barron, and Charlie Parker are some of the best to ever do it, and they have some of the best compositions in the world ever, in jazz music or Black American music. And I think that this group is just 5 tunes that I think are hip, but I think it's a good group of 5 tunes. I would definitely play these tunes on a gig, and I have played them on gigs, and I would use this as a set list even, because it's got a ballad in there, got a straight 8th tune, got some swing in there. So yeah. Anyway, thank you guys for joining me today on Let's Cool One. Jack Macklin, I'm your host. We have guest book for the month of November, so I'm super stoked about that, how we're going to have different guests on here, and I'll bring up the records of the week. Some are going to be on Zoom, some are in person, so we're excited about that. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in on Let's Cool One. You're cooling one with Jack Macklin here. Thank you, Alethio, as always, for hosting us, and we'll see you guys next week.